G'day, it's Jamie and welcome to Tantanoola Tigers. Today, I'm reading a collection of letters to the editor for the column The Naturalist, which was published in the Australian Town and Country Journal regarding native cats in 1884. So we'll get into it. This first article was published in the Australian Town and Country Journal on Saturday the 23rd of February 1884, titled The Naturalist, Native Cats and Rabbits. Staying with a friend near Goulburn, he told me that on one occasion he had 27 nearly full-grown rabbits killed by one native cat in one night, which he caught and destroyed, and that he thought if 1,000 or so native cats were caught without injury to them, say in the Coast District, and turned loose in a rabbit-infested country, a good deal could easily and cheaply be done. For the cats, protected from poison traps, dogs and guns, would soon multiply immensely, having 9 at a litter, and could do no possible harm save to rabbits and small vermin, to all of which they are the most insatiable and implacable of destroyers. The cats can and will follow a rabbit into a burrow, and the result may easily be guessed. He also stated from his experience almost any number of cats could be obtained for a small sum each in the district alluded to. So, thinking the idea worthy of being made known, I venture to send this to you for circulation in your very widely circulated and extensively read journal. By Henry Rose, Burwood, February 2nd, 1884, the end. So this next article was published in the Australian Town and Country Journal on Saturday the 8th of March, 1884, titled The Naturalist, the Native Cat. In your issue of the 23rd instant, there appeared an article respecting the suitableness of native cats as rabbit exterminators, but the writer, Mr. Rose of Burwood, has not told us as to what particular cat he refers, as he has made some novel and startling statements regarding the vicinity of these animals he speaks of, and their extreme plentifulness in the Coast District. As an amateur naturalist, I am particularly desirous of hearing a little more of him on the same subject. Will Mr. Rose therefore be kind enough to name and describe the particular cat which he refers to? The common marsupial cat, Dasyurus viverrinus, is a small, timid animal and in no way ferocious or aggressive, which preys upon very small birds, mice, lizards, etc. It never attacks an animal in any way proportionate to its own size, and is in fact physically incapable of killing an animal such as a half-grown rabbit. It breeds but once a year, generally in July or August, but never has many as 9 young ones at birth, 5 being the maximum number. The spotted dasyur, or tiger cat, Dasyurus maculatus, is perhaps the one Mr. Rose refers to, but if so, he is greatly in error in assuming that they are so plentiful, and equally in error when he states that they have 9 at a litter and that they could do no possible harm save to rabbits and small vermin. The truth is that these cats are not and never were plentiful in this colony. They never have as many as 9 at birth, and of all the Australian carnivora, these cats are the most aggressive and destructive, but fortunately for owners of poultry, they are as scarce as they are destructive. These cats are so scarce and so wild that in my opinion a bonus of £1,000 would not have the effect on causing 100 of them to be captured within a period of 2 years. And I most confidently and emphatically deny, and I speak from personal knowledge, that there are 1,000 tiger cats to be found on all of New South Wales coast from Cape Byron to Cape Howe. It is true that a hybridous species of cat is occasionally met with in parts of the Coast District, which is often mistaken for the dasyure or tiger cat, but it is neither marsupial nor indigenous and therefore cannot be termed a native cat. The purebred tiger cat, Dasyurus maculatus, never had and is never likely to have 9 young ones at birth. I make this statement unreservedly and emphatically, and am quite willing to give anyone £10 who can prove me in error. Yours, etc., H.J. McCooey, Survey Camp, Baraga, February 25th, 1884, the end. This next article was published in the Australian Town and Country Journal on Saturday, the 5th of April, 1884. The Naturalist, Native Cats. In answer to a letter by Mr. H.J. McCooey, I beg to state that I have shot the common native cat with 8 young ones on its tits, and I have known to my cost that they are very destructive in the fowl house. The difference between the common and tiger cat being that the former one kills one at a time and has a feed off it, whereas the latter has killed, and I have caught her in the act, as many as 6 in one night and merely snaked the blood. I should like somebody to offer £1,000 in this locality for 100 of the vermin, and I have the least doubt that they would be got in less than 12 months. I have never got a she-cat of the tiger species, and cannot say how many young ones they may have, and it is most singular thing that nearly all the native or tiger cats, and I can reckon the former by the 100, were males, but I only ever speak of those caught on the premises about the bush. There are nearly as many females as males killed by C.K. the end. And then this next letter to the editor on the same date. In your issue of the 12th instant, I have read with some surprise H.J. McCooey's article on native and tiger cats. I have also read Mr. Rose's article on the same, and from a practical point of view, I believe that the latter knows most about the native cat. Of course, everybody who has had experience of bush life know that the tiger cats are not so plentiful as the native, and also know that both species are indigenous. Mr. McCooey seems to infer that the native cat is a very harmless creature. Possibly he had not many of them in the neighbourhood of his poultry yard, or he would think differently. I have known one native cat to kill 21 fowls in one night, and another night 18 half-grown turkeys, also many full-grown ones. I do think the tiger cats are more numerous than Mr. McCooey imagines, considering that in 1 year I have known 6 to be shot within the boundaries of 320 acres of ground in the Yass district. But what is of most public interest, would the native cat destroy rabbits? I think anyone doubting that they would do so has very little experience of their habits. Another important consideration is, would the native cats live on the plains of the Riverina? If the rabbits were numerous, I have no doubt but they would, but at present they would starve. At Yucca the other day, I saw a lot of mongooses for a Riverina squatter. Many think that if these were turned loose and become hungry, that they would not kill the rabbits but sheep and even people. But whether they do or not will be soon known, for their importation into New South Wales is now an established fact. By John Flanagan, the end. Gunbar Buyer Hay. In your issue of February 23, Mr. Rose gave a true account of the native cat Dasyurus viverinus, and I am surprised to see him contradicted in your issue of March 8 by Mr. McCooey, who evidently knows little about the habits of native cats. He says that they are neither ferocious nor aggressive, and that they will not kill an animal near their own size. Anybody who has raised poultry where the cats are plentiful knows that they are very destructive to animals, and will kill fowl 2 or 3 times their own size, but they prefer chickens to full-grown fowls, and will often kill 5 or 6 chickens in one night and only suck the blood. I agree with Mr. Rose that it would be a good plan to take some of them to rabbit country. Native cats are plentiful in the Bathurst district and they don't generally have as many young at birth as Mr. Rose says. They generally have 5 to 6 at birth, but occasionally they have 8 or 9. They may have more in some districts than others. By F.W. The End. Wiseman's Creek, March 14th. In your issue of the 8th instant, a letter appears under the heading The Native Cat, signed by Mr. H.J. McEwey, in which he states that the tiger cat, Daesaurus maculatus, never had and is never likely to have had 9 young ones at birth. He also emphatically denies that there are 1,000 tiger cats on all the New South Wales coast. I have not visited the New South Wales coast sufficiently to give an opinion about the number found there, but I can speak confidently about the Victorian coast and also the islands in Bass Straits, where they are found to be in great numbers. On the islands, notably Kings Island, in some parts, I am confident I could obtain by traps and otherwise 12 in a night, perhaps more. And when collecting there, I could frequently to shoot 2 or 3 in an evening. That would come to the camp to carry off anything they could get a hold of, even our possum rugs. As regards to the number of young at birth, I think that is very possible that they may have 9 sometimes. 7 is a common number enough, and 6 is about the regular thing. This I can state positively. I have in my possession 4 or 5 dozen skins of the young ones when only the size of the common native cat. These are very pretty, being much darker than the old ones, with the spots being yellowish instead of white. Mr. McEwey will find that if he pays more attention to the subject than in the case of the common native cat, 5 is not the maximum number of young at birth. By Lewis A. Pears, The End. Wanu Tupple, March 12. Sir, in your last issue I noticed an assertion by an amateur naturalist to the effect that the common marsupial cat, generally known as the native cat, does not have more than 5 young ones at birth. I beg to state that your correspondent is in error, as I have 2 or 3 occasions seen them with 6 or 7 young, and on one occasion I killed a native cat in the Bathurst district and took 9 young ones from the pouch, each about half an inch long. When your correspondent speaks of 5 being the maximum number, he must mean the minimum, as I have never saw less than 5, and often more than that number, and I have killed great many in my time. I incline to the idea that a full-grown native cat could kill a half-grown rabbit, but of course it would be absurd to encourage the breed for such purpose, as the cure be as bad as the disease or even worse. By P. M. Rotten. The End. Marua, Waganga, March 12, 1884. In glancing over your issue of the 8th instant, I notice a writer, signing himself H.J. McEwey, goes on to say that 100 of these cats are not to be found in 2 years. Now, I am of the opinion that H.J. McEwey's experience of the cat and likewise the bush is very limited, if this is the conclusion arrived at by him. In this neighbourhood alone, as well as other places, I know of these cats are very numerous, in fact far too numerous for the feathered tribe, who fall victims to their ravages almost nightly. I know of one storekeeper in this district alone who has bought more skins than H.J. McEwey says could be procured in 2 years. And I'm fully prepared to say that, from practical experience, I have invariably found it the same all over New South Wales, viz. That the cat is plentiful, by far too much so. By Native, The End. Blicks River, Armadale Road, March 17th. Seeing some correspondence in your value paper on the above, some further notice may be interesting. Native cats are very plentiful in this district. 2 old ones, with a family of 6 young, are often met with, and sometimes 7 young. They will attack any kind of poultry, even a large turkey or Cochin China cock, killing the fowls and sucking the blood. A friend of mine had a large Cochin rooster taken off by one. Another friend witnessed a pitched battle between a native cat and a duck that was sitting on a clutch of eggs near a log. I have rescued a large number of hen from one, and often seen a good terrier dog kept at bay for several minutes by one. They are fierce little animals, and tiger cats are not so plentiful. They are very good many around Taralga. The largest one caught about here measured 4 feet long from tip of nose to tip of tail. Both kinds are of a terror to the poultry yard. By Goulburn. The end. This article was published in the Australian Town and Country Journal on Saturday the 26th of April 1884, titled Native Cats. Having observed in your late issue what seems to be a sort of native cat war, one party asks, will the native cat kill rabbits? Yes, and eat them too, and make short work of them at that, although they prefer sucking the blood only when supplies are plentiful. Another says the native cat will not kill anything their own size. Now, we all know that they can kill and will kill any fowl from the turkey downwards, and also kill and devour one another. In fact, I am aware of nothing in the country their own size that they could not destroy. The small sorts of cats are the bloodsuckers. Tiger cats are by no means so plentiful and are mostly found in dark, densely timbered country. But like the smaller tribe, they are very fond of good fowl, which they kill, carry away, and eat at their leisure. There is also a small black cat with white spots, very pretty and rather scarce. I also noticed that one of your correspondents thinks it would be absurd to introduce cats to that part of the country, as the cure would be as bad as the disease. Let me remind that, gentlemen, that the mongoose will be found nothing behind the native cat about a poultry yard. I also noticed that one party states that enough native cats could not be found in New South Wales. Now, without taking such a broad a field of nature, I am prepared to supply by contract to any party, private or government, 1,000 live native cats within 6 months. And I do not think I would require to go 5 miles from home to get the lot, which is only a very small portion of New South Wales. I may remark that during a residence of over 40 years of bush life, I have found native cats in all my travels, but more numerous in the higher parts of the colony, such as New England, Bathurst, and all the colder country. Should the introduction of a few cats make the cure worse than the disease, the rabbit pest cannot possibly ever have been what it has been represented to have been, and must appear rather hard on those stock owners on this side of the country, who have been taxed rather heavily to pay towards the destruction of the rabbit pest, one of which is your correspondent, The End. Okay, so this final article was also published in the Australian Town and Country Journal on Saturday, the 17th of May, 1884, titled The Naturalist, the Native Cat. My article respecting the native cat has occasioned no small amount of discussion, and up to date I have not replied, for the simple reason that there was nothing stated worth replying to. The writers, without adducing proofs or using anything worthy of the name of an argument, agree in great measure in contradicting me. But they do not stop here, for not only do they contradict me, but they contradict each other and themselves. The position I took, and which I still maintain, has been neither approached nor shaken. Each and every one of my critics has discovered an amount of ignorance of the subject in question which is as laughable and remarkable as it is lamentable. It is a matter of supreme indifference to me what opinion may be entertained as to my ability to discuss this subject of native cats by a set of chimney corner naturalists. By chimney corner naturalists, I mean men who sit in the chimney corner and greedily swallow everything that is told to them, without wishing to read for information, or more particularly, to search for practical proof or positive and relentless truth. Naturalists, forsooth. It is this class of naturalists that would have us believe that the death adder has a sting in its tail, that the platypus lays eggs like a hen, that the young of the kangaroo grow on the teats, and that a snake will live on till sundown, though never so effectively killed in the morning. Most, if not all, of the writers who have honoured me with their criticism don't seem to know the particular cats I referred to. The first is a small, timid, and most beautiful species, known to naturalists by the name Dasyurus viverinus, whose general maximum number at birth is 5 annually. Occasionally this cat may give birth to 6 and even 7 young ones, but this occurs only in the case of mature and fully developed mothers. If more than 5 be born, they are thrown out of the pouch by the mother, for the marsupium or pouch is rarely or never in a state of preparedness to receive more than 5. This belief, I may mention, is entertained by the ablest naturalist in New South Wales, and if I err with him. And I had much rather do so than shine in the company of most of the writers who have addressed themselves to this subject. With regard to the tiger cat, Dasyurus maculatus, an animal which is seldom ever met with in settled districts, it is observed that it differs from the other viverinus most strikingly. Not only does it differ in size, colour and anatomical structure, but in the mode of living, manner of attacking its prey, and peculiar manner of breeding. This cat inhabits the mountainous regions of Abercrombie River, the high cold parts of New England, such as Moonbi, Glen Innes and Armidale, and the main dividing range in the vicinity of Taralga and Crookwell. But it is not all that plentiful in any given locality in the colony. It is a beautiful animal and as rare as it is beautiful. It has been stated of this cat by my critics that it has as many as 9 at birth, and one writer unblushingly tells us that he found 9 young ones on the teats in the pouch. Now, when I state that the greatest novice in Australian natural history is aware that this cat has not got 9 teats, and absurdity of discussing the subject any further with such a naturalist becomes clearly apparent. In 99 cases out of 100, the tiger cat is blamed for depredations of which it is entirely innocent. That hen roosts have been attacked by cats and fowls massacred, I do not for a moment dispute or disbelieve. But the tiger cat was the aggressor. I am not prepared to believe either. Neither do I believe that the much smaller cat, Viverinus, was the aggressor. There is a hybrid cat much more common than the tiger cat, which is very frequently mistaken for the purebred species, but they are not nearly so large and have not the same number of teeth. While there is a striking dissimilarity in the formation of the claws, the head and particularly the muzzle. I challenge any of my critics to send one of their so-called tiger cats to the curator of the Sydney Museum for identification, and I think that they will be fortunate if he identify one out of every 100 they send as Dasyurus maculatus. The idea of a small cat, Viverinus, killing full-grown turkeys is superlatively absurd. These cats are ungregarious and never attack in concert. But even when they were to combine in attacking their prey, one infuriating clucking head would put a room full of them to flight in an instant. These poor, innocent, harmless creatures are too often blamed in the wrong, when it is highly probable that some jaunty Thomas, wearied of making night hideous with his discordant love songs, has sought recreation and refreshment on some neighbour's hen roost. Yours, etc., H.J. McCooey, Dubbo, May 10th, 1884, the end. That's a classic. This is like being on a Facebook group chat, as far as I'm concerned, where no one can agree on one thing, and there's all these armchair experts telling each other that, no, you're wrong, I'm right, mine do this, yours don't do that, and that. And I like how H.J. McCooey, he set it all off when he replied to the first letter, and then he's like first line out of the block when he's finally done his reply was, well, I didn't reply because none of you were for replying to. It's brilliant. It's like 1880s Facebook. Okay, that's it from me. I'll get back to you all next time. Bye.